God can carry out His work without our help at all. I mentioned this earlier. God can do anything through the heavenly angels. However, you need to remember that God doesn't just do that. He delights in using us to carry out His work. So, why does God choose to use us? Nevertheless, you must remember that God does this and that He is pleased to use us to do this work. Why does God use us? What is the reason for that? God knows that this is the most blessed path for His people, His children, which is why He works through us. Today's wall text is a representative example. Through Nehemiah, the history of rebuilding the fallen walls of Jerusalem will be accomplished. How does it happen? If you look at today's text, you'll understand. In Nehemiah, God's work progresses. By chapter 6, the work is complete. Nehemiah achieves the impossible. In 52 days, they see God's work. This shows someone is with the Israelites. Through Nehemiah, we see that God accomplishes the impossible. People said it couldn't be done, that there was no way to rebuild the city. But in just 52 days, they witnessed God's power at work. Because of that, people realize that there is someone who is with the Israelites. They can't do it on their own, but there is someone with them. God is with them. And through Nehemiah, we shouldn't underestimate Him. God is the one who is behind Nehemiah. What people come to know is right there. Through the great works of God's people, God wants to reveal to all nations that He is the great God Himself. So, when others see that God is with us, they call it a holy fear. It's not because of us, but because of God who is with us. He makes them feel here. Look, everyone, the king himself. When Moses appeared before Pharaoh, what kind of person was Moses? He ran away as a murderer. But that murderer showed up after 40 years. From the king's perspective, he could still say that this sin is valid against you and imprison him or even torture him. But Pharaoh was afraid of Moses. What's the reason? It's because they know that God is with Moses. The prison guard was really afraid of one prisoner who was that prisoner. It's Paul. He looks worn out and really insignificant, a person who's quite shabby. But why is the guard afraid? Because they saw that God was with Paul. Even if today you and I seem like nothing in the eyes of the world, what can make people fear us and keep them from acting carelessly is showing that the one who is with us is God.